take a deep breath and listen carefully. Because what I'm about to share with you might save your heart years of silent suffering, years of confusion, of shrinking yourself just to feel loved, only to lose yourself in the process. For over a decade, I've studied human psychology, ancient Eastern wisdom, and the quiet but complex dance between masculine and feminine energy. And one truth keeps returning to me. Again and again, words carry energy. Words are not just sound, they are containers of intention. In the ancient teachings of Zen and Shaolin, words reveal more than we think. They expose the hidden roots of a person's mind, their fears, their desires, and sometimes their darkness. That's why, in relationships, we can't afford to listen with just our ears. We must learn to listen with our whole being, with awareness, with discernment, with the quiet knowing that protects our peace. Today, I'm going to share with you ordinary phrases, simple words, easy to miss. But behind those words lies manipulation, subtle control, seeds of self-doubt planted so carefully, you barely notice until one day you wake up and wonder, where did my joy go? Where did I lose myself? So let me be clear. If a man says these 7 things to you, don't explain them away. Don't hope they'll change. Recognize them for what they are, not red flags, but carefully disguised tools of emotional control. And as the wisdom of Shi Hing Yi teaches, words carry energy, and that energy tells you everything about someone's respect, their intention, and whether they belong in your life. Stay with me, because understanding these signs isn't just relationship advice, it's self-defense for your spirit. Let me share with you the first phrase that should awaken every alarm bell in your heart. If a man says to you, "I'm not ready for a serious relationship," but his actions say, "Otherwise, pay attention." He texts you every day. He holds your hand in public. He shares his secrets. He lets you meet his friends, maybe even his family. He whispers words that feel like promises. But when it comes to true commitment, suddenly he hides behind the words, "I'm just not ready." You see, this isn't honesty, it's spiritual confusion. And worse, it's emotional manipulation dressed as sincerity. In the ancient teachings of Zen and Buddhism, there's a simple truth. Clarity brings peace, but confusion brings suffering. A person who truly honors your presence will not keep you tangled in uncertainty. Love, in its purest form, flows like water, clear, direct, nurturing. It doesn't trickle through cracks of half-truths. But men like this, they keep you floating in the unknown. They enjoy the warmth of your love, the comfort of your loyalty, yet they refuse to plant roots. They want the flower, but not the responsibility of tending the soil. And here's what happens slowly. Without realizing, you begin to shrink your worth. You stay, hoping his heart will catch up with his actions. You accept crumbs, mistaking them for a feast. You lose yourself in the waiting, but I invite you to remember, your love is not a rehearsal. Your time, your heart, your energy, they are sacred offerings, not auditions for someone's indecisiveness. The Buddha once taught, do not dwell in uncertainty. The middle path is clarity. A man who values you will walk beside you with clarity, not excuses. He won't need to be convinced, he will choose you openly, completely now. Now, the second phrase is even more subtle, but its impact runs deep, like a silent storm beneath still water. It sounds like this. You've changed, but not in a good way. Perhaps he says it softly, with disappointment in his voice, perhaps with frustration, maybe even resentment. But behind those words is not love, it's quiet control. You see, every human being is meant to grow. Like the seasons shift, like rivers carve through mountains, like flowers bloom beyond their roots, your evolution is natural. It's sacred. It's your birthright. But when a man tells you that your growth has made you worse, what he truly means is this. I preferred you when you were smaller, when you doubted yourself, when your light didn't shine so brightly that it made me confront my own shadows. This is not love. This is possession disguised as care. The Buddha once said, change is never to be feared, for without it, there is no life. But sadly, many women in the quiet ache of wanting to be loved start shrinking themselves to fit the version of them that he finds acceptable. They abandon their dreams, soften their voice, dull their brilliance, all to avoid hearing those words again. You've changed. But let me tell you, real love doesn't fear your evolution. Real love stands beside you, proud to witness your unfolding. A man who truly sees your worth will cheer when you rise, not criticize your expansion. So if someone uses your growth as a weapon to control you, that is not your person. That is a reflection of their fear, their discomfort with your strength, your clarity, your blooming spirit. In this journey of life, the only constant is change. Your purpose is not to stay small to soothe someone's insecurity. Your purpose is to rise, to return to your true self, more radiant, more rooted, more free. And as we continue, I'll show you more hidden patterns of manipulation disguised as affection so you can walk this path with both love and wisdom. Now let's talk about one of the most dangerous phrases, because it sounds like love, but underneath, it's quiet manipulation. It goes like this. If you really love me, you sacrifice that for me. Maybe it's your dream. Maybe it's your friendships. Maybe it's your boundaries, your freedom, your peace. And he wraps the request in the soft blanket of love, making you believe that true devotion means abandoning yourself. But let me remind you of this. In Buddhist wisdom, love without freedom is not love. Love that demands you to shrink, to surrender your dreams, to silence your truth, that is attachment, not compassion. True love, conscious love, is rooted in mutual growth where both people rise without one diminishing the other. When a man tells you to prove your love by sacrificing your worth, what he's really saying is, my comfort is more important than your freedom. My control matters more than your joy. In Buddhism, we call this tanha craving, attachment rooted in fear. And when fear drives love, love turns into chains. The Buddha taught, one who truly loves brings no suffering to the one they love. But so many women in their deep kindness, their natural compassion, fall into this trap. They trade their dreams for approval. They abandon their voice to avoid conflict. They bend and bend and bend until one day they no longer recognize themselves. Let me tell you, love is not measured by how much of yourself you can erase. Love is measured by how much of your true self you can safely bring into the space between you. So if someone asks you to prove love by abandoning your growth, your dreams, your peace that is not your person, that is a mirror reflecting their fear, their insecurity, their need to possess, not their ability to love. The most sacred relationships are built on freedom, love that nourishes, not imprisons. As we continue, I'll show you how to recognize these subtle patterns so your love becomes a space for both peace and expansion. There's another phrase, one that's so common, yet so quietly damaging, it can unravel your sense of self before you even realize it's happening. It sounds simple. You're too sensitive, or you're overreacting. Maybe he says it with a smirk, maybe with frustration, or maybe with a soft voice, pretending to care, but the impact is the same. In that moment, your feelings are dismissed, your intuition is questioned, and without even noticing, you start questioning yourself. But let me remind you, in the teachings of Buddhism, your emotions are not the enemy. Your feelings are not flaws to be silenced. They are messengers. They are the quiet whispers of your inner knowing, guiding you toward alignment, truth, and protection. When someone labels your emotional responses as too much, what they're really doing is testing your boundaries. They want to see, will you shrink? Will you disconnect from your inner wisdom to make them more comfortable? The Buddha taught, doubt in oneself is the greatest suffering. And this phrase, you're too sensitive, plants the seed of doubt right at your core. It disconnects you from your own body, your own instincts. Over time, you stop trusting your feelings. You second guess your intuition. You silence your truth all to avoid being too much. But I want to offer you another truth. Your sensitivity is not a flaw. It's a gift. It's your internal compass keeping you safe, aligned, connected to your deepest self. A man who genuinely loves you will not dismiss your emotions. He will lean in. He will listen with presence, with curiosity, with care, even when he doesn't understand at first. Real love does not demand that you silence your heart. Real love invites your full presence, messy, emotional, human. So if someone makes you feel small for feeling deeply, pause, breathe, return to your center. Because love that requires you to abandon yourself is not love. And your sensitivity is not the problem, it's part of your power. Stay with me, we still have more hidden patterns to uncover, and each one will bring you closer to the love and the peace you deserve. There's a phrase that hides behind virtue, but when you hear it, I want you to pause, because hidden beneath its surface is harm disguised as honesty. It sounds like this: I'm just being honest. Maybe he says it after criticizing your appearance, dismissing your dreams, mocking your insecurities. And when you react, when your heart stings, he shields himself with those words. Don't be upset. I'm just telling you the truth. But let's be clear. Honesty without kindness is not honesty, it's cruelty wearing a mask of virtue. In Buddha's wisdom, truth and compassion are two wings of the same bird. One cannot fly without the other. When someone speaks, their words are either seeds that nurture growth or arrows that wound. The intention behind them defines their impact. When a man uses honesty to tear you down, to belittle, to control, that is not truth. That is ego. That is his discomfort, his judgment, his need to assert power, hidden behind a noble-sounding phrase. Over time, these disguised attacks plant quiet doubts within you. You start to believe that love means tolerating pain. You confuse emotional violence with sincerity. You thank him for his harshness, mistaking wounds for wisdom. But I'm here to remind you, your heart is not a battlefield for someone else's unresolved pain. True love doesn't cut under the guise of truth. Real connection honors both honesty and tenderness. The Buddha taught, speak only words that uplift, that bring peace, that reduce suffering. A man rooted in love speaks with care. His truth builds, never breaks. His honesty softens the edges of hard conversations, never sharpens them into weapons. So if you find yourself shrinking under the weight of honesty, remember the truth. When offered with love, liberates. When delivered with arrogance, it chains you to doubt. Stay tuned, because recognizing these patterns is the first step toward cultivating love that heals, not harms. There's a phrase so subtle yet so damaging, it can quietly erase your voice before you even realize it's happening. It sounds like this: you're trying to control me. Often whispered, sometimes spoken with frustration, it appears the moment you express a need, a boundary, or a simple request for respect. Suddenly, your desire for clarity is twisted into control. Your standards become a flaw, your voice labeled as a threat. But let me remind you, boundaries are not control, they are self-respect in action. In Buddhist teachings, healthy boundaries are seen as the space where compassion and wisdom coexist. Without boundaries, love dissolves into chaos. With them, love has room to breathe, to grow, to nourish both souls. When a man accuses you of controlling him, simply for honoring your needs, what he's really saying is, my freedom matters more than your well-being. Your peace is inconvenient for my comfort. But here's the truth. Love without mutual respect is not love. Love that silences your needs, that shames your standards, that makes you shrink is not love. Over time, women in these dynamics start to minimize themselves. They stop asking for reassurance. They stay quiet when boundaries are crossed. They convince themselves that being easygoing is safer than being authentic. But peace built on silence is not real peace. It's a quiet surrender of your spirit. The Buddha taught, let your words and actions reflect your worth. A man who truly honors you won't fear your boundaries. He will respect them. He'll understand that your needs are not demands. They are invitations to deeper connection. So if speaking your truth is met with accusations of control, pause. Come back to yourself. Remember, your boundaries protect your energy, your peace, your joy. Love that lasts is love that respects the space between two souls. And as we continue, I'll help you recognize these patterns so you never have to lose yourself just to feel loved. Among all the phrases we've explored, this one might be the most dangerous. Not because it sounds harsh, but because it disguises itself as love while planting deep roots of dependence. It sounds like this: without me, you're nothing. Sometimes it slips into conversations softly, wrapped in false devotion. Other times it echoes as a warning, making you believe your worth is fragile, dangling by the thread of his presence. But here's the quiet truth. In Buddhist wisdom, every being carries their own light, their own essence, untouched by external validation. Your value is not gifted by anyone, nor can it be taken away by their absence. When a man whispers that your existence depends on him, what he reveals is not love, but fear. His need to possess. His desire to anchor you in uncertainty, so you stay small, so you doubt yourself, so you forget the vastness of your spirit. Buddhism teaches that clinging to people, to identity, to control births, suffering, love born from attachment is not love, it's a cage woven with insecurity. Over time, words like these fracture your foundation. You lose trust in your strength. You abandon your dreams quietly, trading freedom for false safety. And with every step, you drift further from your own center. But I'm here to remind you, the Buddha's words still echo through time. Be a lamp unto yourself. You are whole, with or without anyone's approval. Real love does not tether your worth to another's presence. True love walks beside your power, never over it. So if someone tries to convince you that you're nothing without them, pause. Remember the truth buried deep within your being. You were complete long before they arrived. You will be complete long after they leave. The love you deserve will never ask you to forget that. So, let this be more than just advice about relationships. Let it be your reminder, your quiet shield of energy, your permission to protect what's sacred within you. Because the truth is, the man you choose does not only touch your heart, he touches your dreams, your self-worth, your peace, your future. Choose wrong, and you'll spend precious years untangling yourself from quiet control, from invisible wounds, from love that feels like walking on eggshells. But choose wisely, or better yet, walk away from those subtle warning signs early, and you open the door for real love to find you. A love that nourishes your soul, not drains it. And please, never confuse manipulation for care. Never shrink yourself to fit inside someone's comfort zone. The man who's worthy of your love will never ask you to abandon your voice, your dreams, your essence. In Buddhist wisdom, true love liberates. It allows you to expand, to breathe, to walk alongside someone, not behind them, not beneath them. You are worthy of love that feels like peace. Love that celebrates your sensitivity, your boundaries, your growth, not love that dims your light to keep someone else comfortable. If this message resonates with you, if you believe more people need to hear this, help me spread this awareness. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who deserves to stand in their worth. The right love will never require you to disappear to be seen. The right love will feel like coming home to your truest self. Thank you for walking this journey with me. And remember, you are already whole.